Title: The Haunted Flat. In a quiet town, there was an old building where a young woman named Sarah moved into a small flat on the third floor. She was excited to start her new job and settle into her new home. But strange things started happening from the first night she moved in. On the first night, Sarah heard a faint whisper. She thought it was just the wind and went to sleep. But the whispers continued every night, getting louder and more distinct. They seemed to be coming from the walls. One evening, Sarah invited her friend Lisa over. While they were chatting, Lisa noticed a shadow moving across the room. "Did you see that?" Lisa asked, her voice trembling. Sarah nodded. They decided to investigate. They followed the shadow to the hallway. Suddenly, the lights flickered and the temperature dropped. They could see their breath in the cold air. The shadow stopped in front of an old painting of a woman that hung on the wall. As they looked closer, they saw the woman's eyes in the painting seemed to be following them. Lisa suggested they look into the history of the building. They found out that many years ago, a woman named Emily had lived in Sarah's flat. She had mysteriously disappeared, and some believed her spirit still haunted the building. Determined to help, Sarah and Lisa performed a small ritual to try to communicate with Emily's spirit. They lit candles and asked Emily to give them a sign. Suddenly, the room filled with a cold breeze, and the candles flickered wildly. Sarah felt a gentle touch on her shoulder and heard a soft voice saying, "Thank you." The next morning, Sarah woke up feeling a sense of peace. The whispers had stopped, and the flat felt warmer and more welcoming. Sarah knew that Emily had found peace, and she was grateful to have helped her. From then on, Sarah lived happily in her flat, knowing that the ghostly presence had been put to rest. She and Lisa often talked about their experience, but they never forgot the feeling of the haunted flat and the spirit they had helped find peace. Title: The Tragic Tale of Emily. In the small town of Brookville, an old building stood, its walls whispering secrets of the past. Among these secrets was the tragic story of Emily, a young woman who had moved into the building over 50 years ago. Emily was known for her kind heart and warm smile, and she quickly became beloved by her neighbors. Emily had a secret romance with Thomas, a handsome man who lived in the same building. Their love was intense but forbidden due to a bitter feud between their families. They met in secret, sharing stolen moments and dreaming of a future where they could be together without fear. One stormy night, Thomas and Emily made a plan to escape the town and start a new life together. Thomas would wait for Emily in his car near the old oak tree, and Emily would bring a few belongings and meet him there. The rain poured heavily, and thunder rumbled in the distance as Emily prepared to leave her flat for the last time. As Emily was packing, she heard a knock on the door. Thinking it was Thomas, she rushed to open it. Instead, she found Mr. Collins, the building's elderly caretaker, who had always been suspicious of Emily and Thomas's relationship. "Emily, you can't leave," Mr. Collins said, his voice stern. "Your families will never allow it." Emily tried to reason with Mr. Collins, but he wouldn't listen. In a fit of panic, Emily ran towards the back of her flat, hoping to escape through a hidden door she had discovered behind an old bookshelf. She squeezed through the narrow passage and found herself in a small, dark room she hadn't seen before. Mr. Collins, desperate to stop Emily, followed her and accidentally closed the passage door behind him, not realizing it would lock automatically. The storm outside grew fiercer, and the old building creaked under the weight of the wind and rain. In the chaos, Mr. Collins stumbled and hit his head, falling unconscious. Emily was trapped. She pounded on the walls and screamed for help, but the sound of the storm drowned out her cries. Hours turned into days, and Emily's hope began to fade. She had no food, no water, and no way to escape. She wrote a final letter to Thomas, expressing her love and sorrow, and placed it in a crack in the wall. Days later, Thomas, frantic with worry, searched everywhere for Emily. He begged the townspeople for help, but no one had seen her. He never discovered the hidden room where Emily was trapped. Heartbroken, Thomas eventually left Brookville, unable to bear the pain of losing his beloved. Years passed, and the building changed hands many times. The story of Emily and Thomas became a ghostly legend whispered among the townsfolk. The hidden room remained sealed, and Emily's spirit lingered, restless and longing for peace. When Sarah and Lisa performed their ritual, they discovered the hidden room and Emily's final letter. They learned of her tragic end and understood her sorrow. By acknowledging her presence and her love for Thomas, they helped Emily's spirit find the closure it needed. The old building, once filled with whispers of sadness, became a place of peace as Emily's spirit finally reunited with Thomas in the afterlife.